There seem to be 4 main myths surrounding vaginal tightness or looseness. All of them sexist and rooted in misogyny, all of them used to slut-shame women, and all of them false. Myth number 1 is that a virgin's vagina is necessarily extremely tight. Myth number 2 is that when you have sex for the first time, your vagina becomes permanently loosened. Myth number 3 is that the more sex you have, the looser your vagina will become. And myth number 4 is that using products that require insertion, such as tampons, menstrual cups, or vibrators, will also cause your vagina to become loose. All 4 myths are false, 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 false. The vagina is an elastic organ. It can expand to accommodate insertion or penetration, but then it returns to its original shape. Our problematic ideas around vaginal tightness and virginity have no scientific credibility, and yet so many people of all genders believe them. This just goes to show how deep the misogynistic conditioning is and how ignorant, sexist, and unquestioning our views tend to be, even when it comes to our own bodies and even when these views actually harm our own interests. The number of times that a woman has had sex or the number of sexual partners she has no bearing whatsoever on how tight or loose her vagina is. And it's also no one else's business but her own. So let's get this straight. Consensual sexual intercourse, masturbation with fingers or a toy, or using a menstrual cup or tampons do not cause your vagina to loosen or stretch out permanently. The vagina is incredibly elastic. The vaginal muscles expand during insertion to accommodate an object, and then they return to their original shape once the object is removed. Also, in the lead up to sexual intercourse, if you're doing things right, and by that I mean that you desire each other and you're doing things in a respectful and consensual way, the body will naturally respond to arousal. Just as the penis gets erect when aroused, the vaginal muscles relax when aroused, and the vagina produces lubrication. These are temporary states that the body assumes in response to sexual arousal to prepare for penetration. On the flip side, if a person experiences fear or anxiety, the vaginal muscles will tighten temporarily. These are simply the body's natural responses. The muscles will resume their original shape once the feeling of arousal or the feeling of anxiety dissipates. The bottom line is, sex does not cause your vagina to become loose. So now that we have that out of the way, here are the things that can actually cause the vagina to loosen over time. Multiple or difficult childbirths via vaginal delivery, and the natural process of aging. Women who have given birth via vaginal delivery to multiple children or who have had particularly difficult deliveries may experience decreased elasticity due to muscle fatigue or muscle tearing. However, many women do regain their original vaginal muscle tone a few months after delivery as the region heals. The other thing that may cause the vaginal muscles to loosen slightly over time is aging. As estrogen levels tend to diminish with age, the vaginal walls may become thinner and less elastic, and the muscles may lose some of their tautness. In either case, stuff like Kegel exercises can help, especially if you're also experiencing related issues such as difficulty controlling your bladder movements. Kegel exercises are simple exercises to strengthen the pelvic floor muscles, which are the group of muscles that support the uterus, the vagina, the bladder, and the bowels. And there's tons of information about this online. You can look up Kegels if you're interested in learning more about how to do them. And while there's nothing wrong with strengthening your pelvic floor, I think it's just worth keeping in mind that this loose woman, loose vagina stigma has to do with society's insistence on shaming female sexuality, not with any medically legitimized vaginal hierarchy. I think it's incredibly ageist and sexist the way we fetishize female youth and virginity in relation to sexuality. Why are we so worried about having loose vaginas in the first place? Who do we so desperately want our vaginas to be so tight for? Let's spend less time worrying about whether sex will make our vaginas loose and more time interested in learning about what feels good for us. Instead of thinking of sex and the body in relation to fear and shame, let's think of it in relation to self-discovery and pleasure.